What's good? What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's RFG. I'm back at it today, and I'm here to go over the connection between the serpent and the woman, the human woman. This video is going to be the connection between the human female and the serpent. All right? There's a huge spiritual and metaphysical connection between the human female and the serpent, and it goes back to the first human beings that were birthed into this third dimensional realm. All right, the first humans that were birthed into this third dimensional realm, they started out as gods. They started out as higher dimensional gods. All right, and there were deities outside of these particular gods. And these deities got these goddesses to look outside of themselves instead of relying on their own godlike abilities, you see. And that deity caused these goddesses to fall in frequency. All right. So I'm going to break down the connection between the original human goddesses and the serpent. All right. Now, as we all know, women have two X's, all right, for their chromosomes. These are the two basic human chromosomes, X and X. All right. Now, when we look at the sigil of Saturn, you can go research this yourself. It's called the sigil of Saturn. When you look at it closely, there are two X's. Okay. There are two X's here. We have one right here. You see, from this point right here down here, and then from this point here down here. That's an X, and then we have another X. Okay, there's one line. Here's another line. All right, it's the same. It looks easier to see. Right, it's easier to see right here. Okay, there's a cross, and then there's another cross. All right. The two X's, all right, the two X's helping to create the sigil of Saturn. So you put two X's together with the line in the middle. You put two X's together with the line in the middle, and you get the sigil of Saturn. Now, right here, you have two X's for the female human chromosomes. So Saturn, we all know Saturn is the entity that is actually controlling the physical matrix. All right. And the planet Saturn used to be the original sun of the solar system. When Saturn used to be part of the Sirius star constellation. I believe Saturn used to be the fourth star of the Sirius star constellation. And this was before Ogo broke the umbilical cord to Amma and created the this solar system. All right. So when we look at it in a nutshell, you ever hear the term "you've been double crossed"? Have you ever heard the term "you've been double crossed"? That person fooled you. That person deceived you. That person double crossed you. Well, that's exactly what happened to the original goddesses that fell from a fifth density to a third density. All right. When they fell from a fifth density to a third density, they were given these physical DNA strands, which were bound in two X chromosomes. All right. XX, the fucking double cross, the double X of Saturn. All right. All right, and we all know Saturn rules the physical matrix, the illusion of the material universe. That's all ruled by Saturn. All right, the ruler of the illusion of the third dimension. And the sigil is the XX. All right, with the line in the middle symbolizing the female chromosomes XX. Why is this significant? Because the female gender was the first gender to be deceived by Yaldaboth. The female gender, all right? They started out as female asexual goddesses. They started out as female asexual goddesses. Okay? All right? And they had two X chromosomes, and they were able to procreate without any male counterpart, because they possessed sperm in their bone marrow. All right? The original female goddesses on the earth, they started out as asexual procreators, which means they had sperm in their bone marrow. And I think every few years, their body was able to give birth to another asexual female. All right? And these goddesses were impregnated by the sun. These goddesses were impregnated by the sun. The sun caused sperm to form in their bone marrow. All right, so they would impregnate themselves with other asexual females. All right, now there were gods, there were deities that were over the asexual Amazons. All right, because that's what these goddesses were called. They were known as the Amazons. You had Amazons on Earth and Venus. You had Amazons that lived on Earth. You had Amazons that lived on Venus. And I believe you also had Amazons that lived on one of the moons of Saturn. So one of the moons of Saturn, Earth, and Venus. All right. All right. And you had gods that were over these goddesses. These particular gods were androgynous. They didn't have a sex. All right. They were known as the Nomos, and they were amphibious gods that lived on the planet known as Nyan Tolo that orbits Sirius C. All right. And so these amphibious gods came to Earth, and I guess they felt that these particular goddesses weren't obeying certain cosmic laws. I'm not 100% sure on which laws were broken. But what I do know is the Nomos took the genetics from these asexual goddesses. Okay. The Nomos took these genetics from the asexual goddesses. They took the two chromosomes, all right, and they genetically altered the Y chromosome into existence. They genetically altered the Y chromosome into existence. All right. Now, like I said, we can prove this for the simple fact that when a man and a woman have a baby, that baby is always going to have its mother's X chromosome. When a man and a woman have a baby, the baby is always going to have the mother's X chromosome, and the baby is going to have the mother's mitochondrial DNA, and the baby is going to have a mixture of its mom and dad's DNA with the nuclear DNA. So when you look at the nuclear DNA that's given to the child, it's a mixture between both parents. But when you look at the mitochondrial DNA of the child, that's only the mother's. So technically speaking, if we're talking about who passes more of their genetics to the child, it's actually the mother. All right. All right. And even if the child is a boy, the boy is always going to have his mother's X chromosome and his mother's mitochondrial DNA. All right. All right. Now the Y chromosome can only be passed from male to male. Do you understand? The Y chromosome can only be passed from male to male. All right. That means that men are masculine women. That means that men genetically are genetically altered masculine women. All right, the ovaries, when they hang on the outside of the body, the ovaries are the testicles. The penis is nothing but an elongated clitoris. All right, and then the womb forms into the prostate gland. All right, and the seminal vesicle. So the seminal vesicle and the prostate gland were originally the womb. The testicles were originally the ovaries, and then the penis was originally the clitoris. And men still have mammary glands. Men still have mammary glands in their chest, but they're just inactive. They're inactive because of the high levels of testosterone and the low levels of estrogen in the man. All right. So when we look at this, the Y chromosome was not always this small. If you go research the size of the Y chromosome thousands and thousands of years ago, actually over 100,000 years ago, the Y chromosome was much bigger than what it is now. All right. The ruler of this world, the demonic force that is controlling our government, it's ruled by two entities. One is a hermaphrodite. Two is a female. All right. There's two demonic entities running the show here on Earth. One is a hermaphrodite. The other is a female. All right. And this can be backed up by so much information. I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but I'm just going to break down the key points to this thing here. So once again, this is how humanity started on Earth. And these beings also live on Venus. These beings also live on Titan and some other moons that orbit Saturn. All right, these are heavily melanated, asexual warrior goddesses, and they are extremely tall as well. And you know how we can prove this is there's a tribe in Africa called the Dahomey tribe. There's a tribe in Africa called the Dahomey tribe. The Dahomey tribe are directly related to the ancient Amazon goddesses, the Dahomey tribe. All right. Their bone marrow was genetically tested, and the Dahomey tribe still have remains of sperm in their bone marrow, but their sperm is inactive. The Dahomey tribe's sperm in their bone marrow is inactive. All right. All right, because when the nomos came down to take these powers away from these asexual goddesses, all right, they genetically altered the male sex into existence, and the nomos also put chemicals in the Earth's atmosphere, and the nomos put chemicals in the Earth's water system, which caused the sperm in the woman's bone marrow to become infertile. All right. So you had the nomos that basically poisoned the oxygen at one point, and the atmosphere and the fresh water system, and that led to the sterilization of the sperm in the woman's bone marrow. And then the nomos genetically altered the male sex into existence by creating the Y chromosome. This caused a war to break out over the Earth. Yes, there was a real physical gender war on the Earth, and on Venus. All right, I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds far-fetched. But every single ancient culture can tell you about a civilization that was ruled by women, and every other ancient culture can tell you that at one point all human gods were goddesses at one point on the Earth. On the Earth, at one point, all human gods were goddesses. All land masses, all major land masses were named after a woman. All major land masses on Earth were named after a woman. This is all for a reason. This is all for a reason. All right? This is because the original beings, the original humans on the Earth, were these asexual women that ended up breaking laws that were put forth by the Sirius gods, known as the Nomos. And because of this, the Nomos came to Earth, and they genetically altered the Y chromosome into existence, giving birth to the male sex. And they changed, certain chemicals in the atmosphere and the fresh water, and caused these goddesses to become sterile. All right, which basically killed off the sperm in their bone marrow. So they now needed the male sex to procreate, and this caused a gender war on the earth. And this is why that everybody knows this. The heavily melanated women on the earth right now, they carry a lot of natural high levels of testosterone. When you're talking about heavily melanated women, they naturally carry a high level of testosterone compared to other women. That's because the heavily melanated women on the earth, they are the closest relatives to the Amazon goddesses. All right. The heavily melanated women, and like I said, this is no offense to anybody. This is, what I'm saying, just like an observational truth that everybody, really knows deep down inside. The heavily melanated women on the earth are the closest ancestors, the closest descendants to these asexual Amazon goddesses. All right. So, this is why, a lot of men end up having issues like trying to have a woman who is heavily melanated submit to them. All right. And why that word submit is such a mind fuck to heavily melanated women, it's because of this. It's genetic. You know what I'm saying? What's going on with the melanated woman in this day and age, it's metaphysical and it's genetic. All right. She is the closest in genetic lineage to the first beings, all right? The first human beings in this solar system, which were the asexual Amazon goddesses. And the other women of other races basically picked up, their ideology and their frequency from the melanated woman. So now we have multiple countries where, the women are carrying this energy right here. All right. But this is what the gods from Sirius struck down. This is what the gods from Sirius, this is what they neutralized to bring order and balance on the earth. Right. The Y chromosome had to be engineered to bring order and balance between a yin and yang, positive, negative, masculine, feminine frequency. All right. All right. And so basically, when you see all of these Instagram models, all of your favorite models, they have now made it a trend. And this has been going back since, I want to say, like 2009, 2010, like random women on social media just taking picture with snakes and sleeping in bed with snakes. Folks, if you just do simple research and go look at the pages of your favorite Instagram models and see how many of them are taking pictures with serpents and snakes. All right. That's not for no reason, because the woman, both so-called black and white women have an infatuation with this serpent, and it's all metaphysical. All right. Now, when you talk about the melanated woman, the melanated woman was fooled by Yaldaboth. The melanated goddesses, all right, the original asexual Amazon goddesses, they were multi-dimensional. They were fifth dimensional beings. All right. And Yaldaboth sent these goddesses some kind of a bait. Yaldaboth sent these goddesses some kind of a bait trap. And this Yaldaboth, he basically showed these goddesses the third dimensional realm. He showed these goddesses the third dimensional realm. All right. And the third dimensional realm was so beautiful. These goddesses were so infatuated with the beauty of the third dimensional realm. See, the goddesses didn't realize that the third dimensional realm was nothing but the realm of parasites. You know what I'm saying? Where you'll be trapped in a series of reincarnation for thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? But all the Amazons cared about at the time was the beauty of this third dimensional realm, and these goddesses became trapped in this third dimensional realm because they were deceived by Yaldaboth. Pay very close attention to what I'm telling you guys, because these are the facts. All right. So Yaldaboth was the evil serpent-like figure that created the holographic matrix and sold it as a real realm. He sold it as a real godly realm. But when we came into this realm, we realized, we have to eat other living life forms to stay alive. Our body constantly expels waste. We have to fight off all kinds of bacterial and fungal infections. We're under the sun, which is Helios. We have 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, which give us our avatar carbon body, which is 666. See what I'm saying? The mark of the beast. We're in a fucking beastly vibration. You feel me? And then we have iron-based blood. So every time we breathe oxygen, the iron in our blood gives off electrons to the damn oxygen. So every time we breathe, our blood loses electrons to the oxygen, which causes us to age. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Which helps keep us in a state of reincarnation. You see? But the goddesses were unaware of this when they were deceived by Yaldaboth. You see, that's the real story of the goddamn serpent deceiving the woman. That's the real story of how the demonic serpent-like figure deceived the woman. Because the woman, right, the original woman who got deceived by Yaldaboth is the real Lucifer. The original melanated asexual woman who got deceived by Yaldaboth is Lucifer. Folks, listen to what the fuck I'm telling you. The original melanated woman who got deceived by Yaldaboth and was the first woman birthed through a black hole into this third dimension, that melanated woman is Lucifer. And she incarnated on Venus. All right? That's folks, that's the association with Venus and Lucifer right there. The planet Venus is Lucifer. Look up what Venus rules. All the mundane, everything that's mundane, that's fucking Lucifer. All right? And the ruler over Venus was that asexual goddess. All right? Who was deceived by Yaldaboth. See, Yaldaboth is Saturn. Yaldaboth is Saturn, aka Kronos, right? Which is a hermaphrodite known as Ogo, according to the Dogon tribe. All right, this deity and the original goddess birthed into this third dimensional realm. Right? Those are the ones that are calling the shots. These are the deities calling the shots. Behind the scenes, folks, it's all a lie. There is no goddamn patriarchy. There may have been small periods, small tiny periods of patriarchy on this earth, but if you go back thousands and thousands, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, folks, this earth has always been controlled by the feminine frequency. All right. All right. And it goes back to Yaldaboth and Lucifer. It goes back to Yaldaboth and Lucifer. All right. And Lucifer's real name is Hathor. Right. The real Lucifer is a goddess, a melanated goddess named Hathor. All right. All right. Which is directly associated with the planet Venus. All right. So the melanated woman, the melanated goddesses, they were the ones who were deceived by the serpent known as Yaldaboth. Now, when we go to the non-melanated race, all right, the race that was created to be artificial, the so-called white race, is totally different. When we go into the story of Adam and Eve, that is only pertaining to the white race. All right, because you got to understand, not only did Yaldaboth deceive the melanated goddesses into falling into this third dimensional realm, Yaldaboth also convinced his archons to genetically splice the Caucasian race into existence. Yaldaboth and the gods beneath him or her, the gods beneath this deity, all right, were ordered to genetically splice the Caucasian race into existence. The Caucasian race was genetically engineered to serve Yaldaboth from the start. Right? Yaldaboth is the god of the Bible. That's why all monotheism is for the calcified. It's for the calcified races. All monotheism is for the calcified races. All right? All monotheism was originally for the Caucasian race. All right? So this is why the Adam and Eve story was specifically speaking to the non-melanated race, all right? The so-called artificial race. Now let me break this down. The serpent in the Garden of Eden was not Yaldaboth. The God of the Bible is Yaldaboth, but the serpent in the Garden of Eden is not Yaldaboth. The serpent in the Garden of Eden is Kundalini activation, which is your ability to tap into higher frequencies, higher realms, and the ability to see things through your third eye. That is the Kundalini frequency. Also, your ability to have sex and procreate, all right, by yourself. That is the Kundalini frequency. And this is what was given to Adam and Eve when they listened to the serpent and bit the apple from that tree. Now, how can we prove that this is a story that was specifically made for the non-melanated people? I want everyone listening right now to go on any search engine that you know of and try to see if there is any ancient culture that spoke about the Adam and Eve story. That is, I'm talking about non-white. So I'm talking about outside of the Bible, and outside of the Torah. I want you to find any source that is outside of the Bible or outside of the Torah that speaks about a fucking woman being deceived by a serpent on a tree and her biting the apple and her gaining some wisdom to bring sin into the earth. I want you to go outside of the Bible and the Torah and see if you can find any story that's related to this. I bet you won't be able to find shit. And guess what? You're going to see an article. You're going to see an article that says 15 cultures that speak about Adam and Eve and the apple in the tree. But when you click on that article and you actually read those stories, none of those stories talk about the serpent on a tree and convincing a woman to buy the apple on the tree. I already fucking researched it. So when you see that article that says 15 cultures that talked about Adam and Eve from indigenous cultures. No, when you actually read into them, they don't say a goddamn thing about a serpent on a tree convincing a woman to bite an apple to gain knowledge. No. So therefore, there is no ancient civilization on this earth that spoke about uh, a woman biting an apple and listening to a serpent on a tree for her to gain wisdom and for her to bring sin into the world. The only book you'll find that in is the Bible and the Torah, and that means that this serpent was a god that the Greeks called Prometheus, all right, and the Sumerians called Enki, and this particular god was giving the white race a Kundalini fire, Kundalini frequency. This particular god was giving white people melanin. This particular god was giving white people active pineal glands. The goddamn apple represents the pineal gland. The goddamn tree represents the fucking brain stem. The tree of good and evil represents the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain, and the apple is the pineal gland. See what I'm saying? Which is real enlightenment. And the goddamn serpent is the Kundalini fire coming from the god Enki and the god Osiris. Okay, the god Prometheus, giving the Caucasian race an active pineal gland, an active Kundalini fire, which goes against Yaldaboth's fucking bullshit ass laws and rules. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So that right there in itself is proof that the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible is a story that is true. It is true, but it only pertains to the Caucasian race, and it is about the god Enki and known as Prometheus, giving white people active pineal glands and an active Kundalini fire. You see, and trying to instill fear in white people to stay away from that Kundalini frequency. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And any kind of higher spiritual wisdom, because, Yaldaboth, the God of the Bible, Yaldaboth, he doesn't, it doesn't want that. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, the Adam and Eve story, that is strictly for monotheistic Caucasians. That is strictly for calcified monotheistic Caucasians. All right? The apple symbolizes the pineal gland. The serpent symbolizes the Kundalini. The stem of the tree represents the brain stem. The good and evil, the tree of good and evil, the right half and the left half. And then the serpent is the damn Kundalini. All right? When Eve and Adam bite it, their Kundalini and their pineal gland is fully active, giving them higher awareness. And this is exactly what Yaldaboth, the God of the Bible, did not want for the Caucasian race. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? That's why Yaldaboth says in his Bible that the melanated people are cursed. You see what I'm saying? And so that right there is proof positive that monotheism was never meant for melanated people. That is proof right there that monotheism, the God over monotheism, is not the God of melanated people. That's proof right there. Because in the Bible, it says that people's skin was turned dark because of the curse of Ham, which is complete bullshit. But we all know the Bible is a book where the God is Yaldaboth. And we all know Yaldaboth is the most hypocritical, demonic deity in existence. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So that's proof positive right there that the God of the Bible is nothing to be worshipped by melanated people of the earth. And this is why before the monotheistic religions even existed, so we're talking about pre 2,000 years ago, we're talking about well over 2,000 years ago, when you went to every culture around the world, they worshipped the serpent god, and they built pyramids and they mummified their dead. They worshipped the serpent god. They built pyramids and they mummified their dead. You see what I'm saying? That's why. That's why, because this particular Bible and the God of this Bible is the enemy to the original humans on the earth. All right? Both man and woman. You see, but before the female goddesses fell into this fifth density, so now we're talking about the melanated goddesses again. When the melanated goddesses were in the fifth dimensional realm, they were cyclopses. All right? They were cyclopses. Now, see, they try to make the cyclops look all ugly and scary. All the cyclops means and represents is you can only see through your third eye. You can only see through your pineal gland, which means these particular goddesses were only capable of seeing in the spirit realm. These goddesses were only capable of seeing in the spirit realm. Okay? All right. Now, right here. All right. So the goddesses were only capable of seeing what was in the spirit realm, and these goddesses were blind. These goddesses were blind to the material realm. So let me repeat that. These goddesses could only see in the fifth dimension and in the higher dimensions. But when they were tricked into lowering their frequency, they then became blind to the spiritual realm. They became blind to the spiritual realm, and they became trapped in the material realm. They were only able to see the material realm after that. You see? So it started out like this. Look, it started out like this. The Cyclops can only see in the spirit realm, but the Cyclops is blind to the material realm. The Cyclops can only see with the third eye, can only see in the spirit realm, but the Cyclops is blind to the material realm. Yaldaboth gets these goddesses to lower their frequency, and when they lower their frequency, they become trapped in the material realm. And when they became trapped in the material realm, they grew these two eyes. They grew the two eyes, you see, that allows us to see everything in the light photon spectrum. But the light photon spectrum is an illusion, and our pineal glands were shut off temporarily. Our pineal glands were shut off temporarily, which caused us to be blind to the spiritual realm. And then we grew the two physical eyes, all right? So we could only see the illusionary material realm. So when we fell from fifth density to third density, all right, we were now blind to the spiritual realm, and we were now forced to only see the illusionary material realm. And the only way we can see the spirit realm on a consistent basis here in 3D is if we take mushrooms or ayahuasca. Those are like really the two most effective methods for actually seeing the spirit realms around us. Another method is dreaming. So we have dreaming, mushrooms, and ayahuasca that allows us to see the spirit realms around us in this physical realm. You see, because the physical realm with the two physical eyes, that traps us in the third dimension. All right. And since we fell in the third dimension, there's really only three ways we can see things in the spirit realm: through our third eye. You see, but when we were on the Cyclops frequency, all right, when these goddesses and gods were on the Cyclops frequency, we could only see through the pineal gland. which means we were only able to see through the spirit realm, and we were blind. We were blind to the material realm, you see? And that's until Yaldaboth's archons were able to deceive these particular gods by, you know, causing them to lower their own frequencies and becoming trapped in this material realm where we are mostly blind to the spiritual and we can only see the illusionary physical, you see? And this is why the sigil of Lucifer, you see, is directly tied to the optical eye diagram of vision in the material realm. That is the feminine sigil of Lucifer. The feminine sigil of Lucifer is a graph of the vision spectrum in the third dimension. All right, with the two physical eyes. All right. You better start listening to those damn those old ancient sayings. You know what I'm saying? Looks can be deceiving. You know what I'm saying? Shit. The more beautiful a person is, the more evil that they're capable of. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's what's on the inside that matters. You better start, you know, really grasping what these ancient sayings are talking about, because I'm breaking this shit down step by step. All right, step by step, and showing you metaphysically how this shit transpired. All right. So, and like I said, the third dimension itself is ruled by feminine energy. The material matrix is ruled by feminine energy. So this is why the low vibrational aspect of Luciferian energy is feminine. All right. And that's why I say the woman was the first one to be deceived by Yaldaboth. And this original woman was known as Lucifer, aka Hathor. That's why they came out with the movie Lucy. That's why they came out with the movie Lucy. You see, that woman with the powers, you see, talking about Hathor, the melanated goddess, the leader of the Amazons. All right, you guys better start paying attention. And then the scientists named the oldest melanated woman that they supposedly ever found. They named her Lucy. You guys better pay attention, because they know that the original being on this earth was a melanated woman, and it is the Lucifer figure. All right, it is the Lucifer figure. All right, and this is why, like I said, XX chromosome. You got the sigil of Saturn, which is 2 X's, and we all know Saturn is the ruler of the material matrix. Saturn literally is Yaldaboth. Then you have the saying, life is a bitch, and then you die. You have the saying, all right, excuse the French, but you have the saying, life is a bitch, and then you die. That's because the whole third dimension is ruled by feminine energy. All right. And these women were the first ones deceived into this third dimension by the god Yaldaboth, or the deity Yaldaboth. All right. Now, when it comes to the Caucasian women, they were given the Kundalini frequency by Yaldaboth. So, like, originally, the Caucasians were created by Yaldaboth and his archons. All right, but the melanated god, Asar, aka Enki, aka Prometheus, went to this particular location on Mars. All right, and gave the Caucasian race Kundalini fire and active pineal glands. All right, which gave these Caucasians an active soul. All right, when they so-called bit this apple. All right, the apple represents their pineal gland being activated and the Kundalini fire frequency being activated. You see, and when this god gave the Caucasians this ability. This caused a war. This caused a great war between the gods, between Enki and Enlil, between Asar and Set. All right, aka Lucifer and the God of the Bible. Now, there's two Lucifers, the masculine and the feminine. The masculine Lucifer is the deity that actually wants humanity to raise their frequency. The feminine Lucifer wants to keep you trapped here in this earthly realm. All right? All right? All right? So yeah, I had to break that down for you guys step by step. And this is why you see so many women infatuated with the goddamn serpent. All right? When you see the melanated women doing this, this is their metaphysical connection to Yaldaboth, the demon that rules this material matrix. XX chromosome. They were double crossed and fooled by Yaldaboth to be trapped in this material realm. Like I said, we fell from the fifth dimensional Cyclops that could only see the spirit realm and was blind to the material realm, into falling into a 666 carbon body. You see, and now everything we see is a goddamn illusion of light photons, and we're damn near blind to the spirit realm. You see, because now, you know, our pineal gland is now in the back. You see what I'm saying? Instead of in the front, like the goddamn Cyclops. You see? You see, we're trapped in Lucifer realm. We're trapped in the feminine Lucifer realm and Yaldaboth realm. You see? And that is the connection between the melanated woman and these serpents. That's why you see all these women fucking with these serpents. You see? They're all taking up after the original asexual goddesses that inhabited Venus and this earth, right? The first one was known as Hathor, aka Lucifer. And I think that deity somehow is still existing underground, and they are somehow keeping the energy of Yaldaboth very active. All right? All right, we're dealing with sorcerers, very powerful sorcerers, witches, and warlocks. And they work behind the scenes to make sure this energy is carried out on a global level. All right? All right? And so when you look at this in a nutshell, they come out with this saying, the future is female. The future is female. Now, that is because these demons like Yaldaboth and Lucifer, all right, they somehow cursed the Y chromosome in the male's genetics, and now after every generation of man that is born, the Y chromosome gets smaller and smaller and smaller. See what I'm saying? So in the next thousand years or so, you know what I'm saying, the male sex might not exist. All right? All right? So be aware of that. You know, we will see if the Nomos are able to come back to this planet and step in and genetically alter the Y chromosome to become its original size, which is almost equal to the X chromosome. All right? All right? I think this right here, this Y chromosome getting smaller every generation, I think that's the curse of the goddess Kali. I think that's the curse of not only Lucifer, but the goddess Kali. See what I'm saying? The man killer. You see all these gods and goddesses, all of these these religious stories and these symbols and these sayings. See what I'm saying? They all have a meaning. They all have a deeper meaning that is tied into actual events that took place on this earth and took place on this solar system. All right. So that's all I had to say on this topic. I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions regarding this topic. This is why the woman is so infatuated with the serpent. All right. You see what I'm saying? The melanated woman and the non-melanated woman. All right. All right. So yeah, you have the non-melanated woman. When you see the non-melanated woman posing with the snake, she could be embodying the Yaldaboth frequency, just like the melanated woman. Or, you know what I'm saying, we don't know. She could be trying to tap into the, trying to pay homage to the Kundalini. But what I will say is, looking at the actions of most of these women this day and age, they're not on a high frequency at all. So I would never assume that they're trying to pay homage to the real Kundalini frequency. Most of them are stuck in these frequencies right here of Yaldaboth and Lucifer. All right. So with that being said, that's all I had to say on this topic. Hope I was able to answer everyone's questions regarding this topic. Shout out to all of the Patreon supporters and all of the YouTube subscribers. I would not be able to do what I do on a consistent basis if it wasn't for each and every one of you. Please give me a suggestion of a movie, TV show, cartoon, or video game you want to see me decode, and I'll put it on the Patreon. All right. Plain and simple. And also, give me a topic regarding men and women and relationships, and I'll upload that to the YouTube channel. All right. So yeah, hit me up about that. I'll be coming out with a video really soon. Be on the lookout. Peace and love. Stay safe. It's the Chosen One. I'm out.